It was announced that student Ririsa had failed all her subjects and would have to attend remedial classes today. Turns out, she had been so busy preparing for the event and establishing her little family that she hadn't studied a single thing for the exam. As for the cosplay photos, none of her classmates had recognized her face at the club room. When Ms. Hanju entered, Okumura had already prepared himself for the bad news. "Our project won't be approved," he said. If it had been approved, it would have been posted on the school's bulletin board by this morning. However, the report had been approved. Though the details of the activities were kept private, only the principal and the student council president knew about the cosplay activities. But it had been tacitly accepted. Okumura deflated a little because it wasn't as public as he had hoped. Ms. Hanju had expressed everything to the principal, explaining that they didn't want to hide anything. The principal understood, but then took time to explain more deeply to Ms. Hanju that we cannot act impulsively just because of our passion and determination. It's very easy for students to be curious or even malicious, spreading images online that could lead to bullying. What if Ririsa, after facing such harm, decides to quit cosplay? The principal shared that in his younger days, he had experienced a major failure because of youthful impulsiveness. Years later, he still regretted that failure, constantly justifying it as a necessary lesson for growth. But eventually, he realized it wasn't an experience worth having. Not every failure leads to success. Some failures leave lifelong regret. He didn't want any student to have to go through that, which is why he decided to keep the cosplay activities private to protect them from unexpected risks. The principal fully understood Okumura and Ririsa's determination, but for their own safety, he had to be cautious. Ms. Hanju had also been fully informed by the student council president and didn't need to be reminded. The only condition set by the student council for the club's activities was that they could not create or store any inappropriate, explicit content. Upon hearing this, Okumura nearly fainted because he had a whole shelf of such items. He promised to throw it all away. The student council president was very supportive of the cosplay activities and even whispered to Ririsa, asking her to show her cosplay photos to her someday. Ririsa idolized the president and planned to empty the shelf and place her picture on top of the cabinet. In general, everything went smoothly. Ririsa joyfully hugged her senior, and Ms. Hanju was excited to join in the celebration. "I'm happy to support you," she said, "but if you don't want to, I'll pass it on to the others." At that moment, Ririsa confirmed, "So Ms. Hanju is Majora, right? If so, my life is complete." Just then, Makari entered and immediately got excited. "Senpai, play with me too." She had spent years grinding and gaming experience, helping Majora become unbeatable. Okumura couldn't compete with that. He inadvertently revealed, "I'm a cosplay photographer for SCK Bus," which Ririsa quickly picked up on and shared a story about their legendary teacher. They kept teasing her as if she was really old, but she quickly corrected them. "Sorry, I graduated and started working immediately, which means I'm only 22 this year, just 1 year older than Okumura." Hearing this, Makari wondered if they were going to get married, but Okumura, after some thought, agreed that they had similar interests. She was good at cooking and sewing too. "I have no idea why I feel nervous," Okumura said, but in the end, there was no chance because she was 3D. Makari knew this, so she wasn't worried at all. Ririsa politely asked Ms. Hanju to teach her how to make costumes, as her handmade outfits were stunning, almost as if they were tailor-made. Ms. Hanju explained how cosplay had evolved so much. Back then, there weren't all the fabric options available now, and wigs weren't as easy to come by. Those with poor eyesight had it tough, as contact lenses didn't have prescriptions, so they had to constantly take off their glasses and put them back on. The first time Tenny cosplayed and didn't know how to wear lenses was miserable. Even buying and selling online wasn't as common back then, so renting or buying costumes was difficult. When the student council president witnessed Okumura throwing away his precious collection of items, he couldn't believe it. He hadn't expected someone to genuinely discard adult-themed books with tears in their eyes. Feeling sorry, the president comforted him. "Once you turn 18, you can buy them back for your personal use. Okumura was embarrassed and blushed at the conversation about sensitive topics. Most of those doujinshi had only been found once in a lifetime. And some were limited edition. So the student council president expressed her shared regret. Meanwhile, Okumura received a message from Ajino, informing him that Ririsa was making waves on the internet. Okumura still hesitated to check. Ajino also mentioned a legendary photographer, known as Uncle, in the cosplay world. It was rumored that any cosplayer recognized by him would surely become famous. However, he was just an ordinary office worker, not the icon people thought he was. Despite being an amateur, he had been taking photos for over 20 years, and his keen eye had earned him the nickname, legendary cosplay photographer. He had created the term, 4 Heavenly Kings, for cosplayers. And his blog held significant influence. Just yesterday, he posted an article mentioning the top 5 new stars, which included Lily. However, she was ranked 5th. Okumura eagerly opened the article to read more, learning that Lily's cosplay was deeply influenced by Majora's style. She had cosplayed the same character twice in a row, and unless she maintained this level, she would soon get bored. Okumura was bitter, but he also realized that cosplay wasn't about comparing victories. However, a threat to the main character was looming. In another room, a girl was watching photos of the 5th-ranked new star, grinding her teeth and muttering, "If this girl just became my friend, it would be over."